Recorded live from the unfinished loft project of Des's home just outside Brighton in Sussex, welcome to the £200,000 to £100,000 Challenge podcast. This is your no thrills, no BS, and absolutely no get rich quick or passive income promises hub. Hosted by your man, Des Hamilton.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I hope you had a lovely week and I hope everything is ticking over for your business if you're running one, and if you're thinking about getting started, I'm hoping you're making leaps and steps forward that you wouldn't have dreamed of 6 months ago. Come on, I've got your back. Okay, so this week, what we're going to do is we're going to carry on the interview that we started last week with Callum Boyd from Arbisource. Last week, we went through Callum's journey of how he started doing a side hustle of matched betting while he was at university, which ended up funding the deposit he put down for his house, having graduated with nearly 28 grand in his pocket. I love that story. Then we went through the rest of his journey about how he went from being an Amazon seller to realizing there's a bit of software that he could build that could fit a gap in the market. And he took a step into the unknown and went for it. Incredible stuff. This week, we get more into the technical side of what Arbisource is. We cover the things it can do and the capability it's got and the help it's providing people. We talk about building it. We talk about the challenges that he faced along the way and the ones he's still got to come. We don't talk about his actual mindset, but I think it's prevalent throughout. And I'm going to dip in at the end to give you my 2 cents of what I think about Callum's mindset. We do talk about his networking style, which I think is incredibly effective. And we talk about Arbisource launching in the US. We talk about the trends that he's seeing in the Amazon community and what the future holds. Before we get into the interview, I want to talk about my week because we've had a really big week this week. In the networking space, I made contacts with people that I wouldn't have dreamed of making. And I can't overemphasize this enough. Networking is everything to me. It's proven to be the secret sauce that has made my business grow. Reach out, DM people, persevere, build relationships. One of the questions I get the most recently is, why have you stopped doing your Amazon only results on your TikTok? And I think it's worth addressing. The short answer is that it just wasn't worth it for the grief that I got. The long answer, and why not have the long answer? I've got my own podcast. Okay, why is it that I've stopped? I found that people were misconstruing the message that I was trying to make. And then in the end, they were using that to speak negatively about the challenge, about my progress as an Amazon seller, and tried to downplay the positive aspects that being an Amazon seller provides. So let's take it hypothetically. Let's say that in real life, I had £3,000 from affiliate marketing last month. I haven't. I haven't made that much in affiliate marketing. But let's say hypothetically I did. It wouldn't be right for me to say, right, that £3,000, I'm throwing it all into Amazon stock to showcase how successful Amazon is. So I knew that when I wanted to showcase this Amazon only journey, I needed to cap the money that I was making from Amazon alone in the previous month. But there was no real way of doing that scientifically without having a stab in the dark and effectively making up a cap. So I did it to err on the side of caution, and I was probably more conservative than I could have been. But what happened is people were going, well, in 9 months, you've only sold £2,000 worth of stuff. No, I hadn't. It had been much more than that, but it was all relative to the journey that was Amazon only. And on top of that, people were just utterly ignoring that I was still turning 30% roughly. I think I hit 29% once. Everything else was over 30% every month. But people weren't seeing that. And in the end, they were then coming into my Facebook journey and say, why should I listen to you? Because you actually haven't made much money on Amazon. And they've been referencing my Amazon only figures as a result. And it just got exhausting. And it made me realize when I had a bit of reflection, the negative voice is so much louder than the positive one. And I started looking a little bit more into depth in that. And I saw a TikTok that summed it up beautifully. Negativity, its inherent characteristic is that it speaks the loudest. And if you take positivity, the inherent nature of positivity is to be quietly resilient. It's what you do that's positive. It's not what you say. But negativity, it's what you say. It's not what you do. So the negative people, they're always going to outshout the positive people. So what I could do to preserve my own well-being, because my imposter syndrome is bad enough without anyone else telling me. And yes, I understand the irony here of me complaining about people running me down. I'm not complaining about that. Listen, I put myself up on every social media platform I can. I've got to have thick skin, and I do have a very thick skin, but I'm not having people try and influence other people through misconstruction of my message. That's not right. So the easiest thing to do is just not do it, because when you give people too much information, it gives them more to pick apart. And I hope you understand, look, this is my journey that I'm sharing on TikTok. It is a multifaceted journey. Amazon, though, it does underpin everything. Amazon is the one thing that has grown every single month and shows no sign of slowing down. It will be my driving income stream. And let's be honest here, if the Amazon journey stops, the whole house of cards comes tumbling down and no one cares about anything that I've got to say, because my Amazon journey would have failed. So Amazon takes up most of my energy, and it's going really well, and it is every bit as successful as I say it is. I'll leave it at that. Right, let's get into the interview. Let's go catch up with Callum and see what he's got to say today. So for those that missed it last week, Arbisource is an online arbitrage tool. It scans everything so you don't have to do it manually. You want a shop to scan, it will scan it, and it will match it with Amazon listings and pull out the profitable deals. If you want to go online and do a category, say you want to scan all of the toys and the games, you can scan all of the toys and the games in the shops that Arbisource hosts, and then it matches it with Amazon. There are other things that it can do, but I'll let Callum do it himself because he says it an awful lot better than me, and you can tell in the passion in his voice that it means the world to him. Over to you, Callum. Let's roll it. It's probably a good point at this point to say, talk us through how Arbisource works from your point of view and what features stand it out.
The basic premise, if no one's used a sort of software like this, is that essentially we scan currently over 350 retailers across the UK and US and pull the products from there and find matching products on Amazon and only show you profitable results after taking into account Amazon's fees. So it's effectively a leads list for hundreds and hundreds of different stores. We kind of stand out particularly on the number of different ways that you can source using Arbisource. We have currently 6 different sourcing methods, but each of those also kind of have their own variations. So I'll just give you a quick sort of overview.
Yeah.
So we've got the Vault, which gives you instant access to all of the results from all our different retailers, or broken down by Amazon category as well. And these are the ones that are kind of cached and from our automated scans. So you get literally within 2 or 3 seconds, you can go in and start seeing results straight away.
Nice. How often are they automated?
So we run the scans ourselves. For the retailer, it's every 3 days, and for Amazon data, it's every 24 hours. So it's really rare that you should see Amazon data older than a day. That being said, even if a user runs a scan for a retailer, then that will then update the vault.
Okay.
You'll actually find that the data in the vault is often much more fresh than 3 days, but it should never really be past 3 days. Quite often, if you see that the data is older than 3 days, it means that actually maybe the product might have went out of stock and we didn't see it on the most recent scan.
Right.
And if that continues for 14 days, then we assume that the product doesn't exist and remove it at that point.
Gotcha.
So we've got store scans as well, which basically it's somewhat similar to the vault, except you can request fresh data. So we will then go and actually scrape the retailer directly and update prices in real time. Here you can also scan multiple stores at the same time, add in things like discount percentages, and by doing that, you're obviously going to reveal some products that wouldn't have appeared in the vault.
Yeah.
And we've got something called custom links, which lets you put in any URL for a category page on any of the sites that we've got in Arbisource and just scan that one URL. This is good for like if there's short-term sales that maybe we're not able to put on Arbisource by the time that it's ran out, or maybe a certain category has a 3 for 2 sale. A lot of softwares can't actually scan these sort of promotions.
No,
but if you take that URL, put it into the custom link, and then put in your discount, if it's 3 for 2, then that's going to be 33% off. So you can put that as a discount percentage, and then effectively you can then scan that promotion as if it was like the 3 for 2.
Oh, what a feature that is! That sounds amazing. I've not looked at
that. It can be really good, because also you'll find if you find a category that maybe that Arbisource hasn't added yet, then you might find results that again haven't been shared with anyone else, and you get to keep for yourself. We've got category scans, which lets you scan all the products we have for a particular Amazon category, and again you can request data up to the second, so it'll be live data that we're pulling through from Amazon. We've got wholesale scans, so once you've obviously progressed in your Amazon journey a bit, you can get a supplier list from a wholesaler, upload it to Arbisource, assign the different column headers, and then we'll find all the matching products on Amazon and just show you the profitable results. And then there's reverse searching. So you can give Arbisource a list of ASINs, and we'll show you where you might be able to source these products from and whether that is a profitable source or not. And within that reverse search, you can also do storefront scans, which means you give Arbisource the seller ID. We'll go and pull all the products from their catalogue and then reverse search their entire product catalogue and show you where you can find where you might be able to source their products from. And we also have an integration with reverse searching with the Seller Toolkit. So you can reverse search your in-stock, out-of-stock, and deleted listings reports. So you can kind of just do that at any point if you want to see whether some products you used to sell are profitable again. We will search for the sources. And then the last one is custom scans. This is a super advanced feature because it does require some knowledge of HTML. So it does require a bit of time investment. But we do have a lot of people that have previously never had any knowledge of HTML that have now used custom scans quite a lot. But effectively lets you scan retailers that we don't have on Arbisource just by providing certain XPaths. I do have a couple YouTube videos showing examples of sites, so if anyone's interested in doing that, they can watch those videos. But again, with those, if you scan a new retailer that we don't have an Arbisource, you get to keep all those leads for yourself, so they won't be shared in the vault, they won't be shared in reverse searching. It'll only be you that will be able to see those. Then so each of the results are kind of placed within their own results panel, I like to call it, and within that panel, there's lots of features as well, things like an interactive fee calculator, so you can kind of adjust your buy or sell price and see exactly how that affects the fees and your profit and ROI. We've got product history charts up to the past year, so you can see ESR, selling price, etc. We've got an automated cashback finder. So we scrape the cashback sites every couple of days to pull through the most up-to-date cashback percentages that you'll get at these retailers. And then within the panel, you can just click the cashback button. It'll show you all the sources you can get cashback from and which one's the best. And we also have an integration with Seller Amp SaaS. So you can click the SaaS button and that will open directly within Arbisource rather than having to go to the Amazon product page and then open it from there.
Right.
And then there was another new feature that I added, I think it was maybe about a month ago, that I think maybe got quite a lot of potential. So it's the coupons and promotions section. So we pull through only 100% verified discount codes and promotions from the retailers that we've got in Arbisource. So you can go into that section and look for a particular store. If they've got a discount code, you can just copy that and either use it on the retailer, or you can run a scan and enter a discount percentage. Or if there's a particular promotion category, just with a click of a button, it will then fill in the custom link that I mentioned earlier for that particular category, and it'll just scan that. And again, you can enter your discount percentage as well. So that makes the whole sort of looking for discount codes and promotion categories much simpler. And also because they come directly from the retailers, they are 100% verified. So it's not like sometimes you look for a discount code and you go through 15 and none of them actually work. These will all work.
Nice. Yeah. Usually that one's 6 months out of date.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. So how did you keep coming up with these features? Was this the feedback from the testing group?
Yeah. So the vault, I actually had no intention of doing the vault initially, but it was the feedback from users saying that sometimes they didn't have time to wait for the scans to complete. And so I started thinking, right, I've got all the data here anyway, why not just show it to people straight immediately? And then if people want more up-to-date data, run discount codes, etc., they can do that. But there's no reason for people not to be able to just log on and see the results straight away. And then custom links, that was another bit of feedback that I got. Someone said, oh, I can see there's this sale on for the next 48 hours. Can you add that to Arbisource? And I said, well, it would be too much sort of effort to monitor every single store and put every single new category that comes up every couple of days. So but there should be a way for them still to be able to scan that. And so I kind of created custom links for that purpose. And then coupons and promotions actually just kind of came to me. I noticed, I found a couple of sources for discount codes. And I've always encouraged people to look for discount codes when they are sourcing, because I think that can, make or break really like how well you do with sourcing. And so I just thought, why not have that integrated in Arbisource as well?
When it comes to either the vault or the scans, with a bit of software like this, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't, aren't you, really? But what I quite like about Arbisource is that you've got both options, but it's communicated quite clearly the vault, these are the sorts of things that you would find in a vault, and these are the sorts of things that you would find in the scans. So nobody's under any false illusion about the shortcomings and the benefits of both.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Like, some people obviously have gotten into the habit of just running scan, but I would always encourage people to look at the vault first. If you don't have a discount code or anything like that, look at the vault first. If the data isn't, more than a day old, then running a scan's probably not going to show you many more results. If it's more than a day old, then sure, then run a full scan for that store. But I would always recommend checking the vault first.
So with that in mind, with all of that going on, how are you staying up to date with the changes that Amazon like to throw out every 27 seconds?
Yeah. In terms of the sort of actual changes to the API we use, they are just as bad at letting developers know as they are letting sellers know. It's unfortunately no different for us. But yeah, in terms of the actual changes that Amazon make and sort of the changing landscape, it's without a doubt Facebook groups. I wouldn't really know anything without or would struggle to keep on top of everything without the Facebook groups. I think even just the recent change with Small and Light going away, I saw that posted on a Facebook group, I think 6 or 8 hours or something before Amazon even emailed me. So the Facebook group was more up to date than Amazon was even making me aware. So yeah, 100% join as many Facebook groups as you can. If you're unsure of something, just searching all of them. I'm sure someone's most likely asked that question before. There's a lot of really knowledgeable people, obviously in your group as well. You've got Steve there, super knowledgeable and has answered a lot of questions. But yeah, that's without a doubt the number one way I would stay up to date.
Definitely. And I think this leads me on to something else that stands out, especially with you, Callum, is your ability to network. I know we spoke previously and how you're saying that maybe you're not the public speaker that you would want to be, but your networking, I've found, stands you out. The fact that you've got the integrations with Seller Toolkit and SellerAmp, that's not a coincidence. How did you get those in place?
It does feel like quite a while ago. I do need to give a lot of thanks to sort of Al and Norm from SellerAmp SaaS and Seller Toolkit. Obviously, they didn't need to integrate with me, but I'm assuming they maybe saw a similar thing to you and sort of realised that I was not a big sort of corporate company. I'm just a lone developer looking to try and build a useful tool, which both of Al and Norm were the same. So I guess they kind of somewhat of a similarity there. But yeah, like you say, I'm not a natural sort of salesman or public speaker, but I do like speaking to people that you can have just a sort of normal conversation with, rather than speaking to like big companies. And that's how I also approached you as well. I saw you on TikTok and YouTube, and I thought, here's someone that's super down to earth. They're not sort of trying to sell you a dream that doesn't actually exist. They're being super realistic.
Yeah.
This is someone that I would actually like to have a chat with. So I'm somewhat picky in who I speak with, to my detriment. But I think it's important to speak with people that have a similar sort of mindset to yourself.
No, I agree. Thank you, first of all. That's really kind of you to say. But no, I completely agree. So let's get into the challenges. When you're building this thing and when you've got all of these incentives coming your way, what challenges could you see coming so you could tackle? And what challenges surprised you on the build?
Without a doubt, the biggest challenge that I knew I was going to have, and I've maybe mentioned it before, was the marketing and advertising side of things. I knew that I would be able to build a decent product, but getting the name out there was always going to be the biggest challenge. And yeah, so I'm kind of always grateful when people like yourself kind of notice the potential and have a platform and are happy to share it with others. Because I think that's always going to be the biggest challenge. It's going to continue being. There's
so many influencers these days as well, aren't there, really? And I suppose it's probably difficult to pick which ones to back, I guess, in some regards as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think at the start I did sort of have an approach of just asking everyone, and as times went on, I've kind of narrowed down who I see myself actually working with, like with a sort of like longer term relationship. I think that's been kind of working out. It's better, as obviously I've now managed to quit the full-time job with that approach now, so that's kind of worked. But
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, a challenge I'd say I maybe didn't see coming was just how involved people would like to be with the development of Arbisource and like how many feature requests I get on a sort of daily and weekly basis. My feature request. Yeah, I would say there's very rarely a day that someone doesn't ask for something new to be added, and I think it's great to see because I do think some of the other softwares seem to potentially have reduce some of their development work over the last couple of years with Amazon changing so much so quickly, you can quite quickly fall behind. So it's nice to see that some of the users are wanting to have an active part in development and see it succeed and have a chance to have their input on sort of where it's going.
I suppose with that in mind then, what sort of trends are you seeing currently?
Yeah, I have seen a lot with the unique bundles recently, and I've also seen quite a lot of people looking to maybe move to the US, obviously not physically, but open a storefront in the US as well. And I think that does have a lot of opportunity because I think there is less competition there. Actually, just looking at the data from what we've got from Arbisource, there's a lot more profitable results in the US than there is in the UK, and there is a lot more opportunity. I always think some people like to sort of jump to the next new shiny thing a bit too quickly. So I do think it's important to get the foundations right. If you're going to go to the US, get the foundations right in the UK first of all. Make sure you know what you're doing. You've got a solid business here first of all, and then expand to the US. That's kind of what I actually did with Arbisource as well. I obviously had it in the UK for about 18 months before releasing in the US. I got the sort of foundation down and got it to the point where the requests that I was getting were just additions rather than bugs and things that are wrong with it.
Talk us through the success stories that you've seen so far.
We have quite a lot of the testimonials on either directly in the Facebook group or on our sort of sales page. A couple of ones that have stood out to me and that I have included on the sales page was we did have someone that had used one of our competitors for a number of years. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3, but quite a few years, and it had a lot of success, but they'd started to see the results slow down as time went on, and so they decided to give Arbisource a shot, and they had messaged me to say that they'd actually managed to find more results in a couple of hours in Arbisource than they'd then found with the competing software in a month.
That's amazing.
So yeah, that was crazy to hear, and for me to realise actually Arbisource has got the potential to be as good, if not better than what's already out there.
Yeah.
There's another person that had signed up for a year membership, and they'd messaged me to say that after only using it for a week, they'd already found more than double the cost of the membership and potential profit in a week. So then they basically the next 51 weeks for free, effectively. So I'm the same as you. I like to be realistic. I'm not going to tell everyone that everyone's story will be exactly the same, but if you're willing to sort of learn the software and put in the time, then there is a lot of potential in there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, because I find this myself. Now I offer this mentoring service. When people come to me and say, these are my results, it's such a lovely feeling, but you can't bang about it too much because you think, actually, that's them that's found those, and that's them that the mindset and all of those things. But at the same point, you do want to take a bit of the credit. That's amazing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like I said, that first person I mentioned, they had used our competing software for a couple of years, so they knew kind of what to look for and where used to it. So yeah, definitely, I wouldn't say to expect to jump on and you make thousands in your first day, but once you've learned it, the potential is there.
Great. So what's next? What have you got in the pipeline?
So as I said, yeah, the feature request list is massive and only growing more. I think if I took no more feature requests, I'd still have enough work to do for the next 2 years to finish them all, But 2 days ago, released estimated sales, which people have been asking for quite a long time.
I saw that. It was previously dips in the BSR, wasn't it?
That's right, exactly, yeah, which is useful for sort of like if it sells maybe less than 30 a month, but anything over that, the BSR drops are kind of useless. I think I saw one product that maybe had 36 BSR drops, but actually now that I've sort of used estimated sales algorithm, it was selling about 3,500 a month. So yeah, there is quite a big difference. So that should give people a lot more opportunity to find the leads that they want, and especially if they are quite fast sellers.
Yeah, it's more simplistic language as well, isn't it? It makes life easier.
Yeah, that's so true, exactly. But yeah, going forward, as I said, the number one thing is always going to be adding more stores. I think over the last month we've added about 25 new stores across the US and UK, and so that's going to just continue. I've still got hundreds of stores to add, and if people join Arbisource, you can join our private Discord group and request stores in there, and then you can upvote them, and the one with the most upvotes tends to get added next. Nice. Unless there's any particular problem. So yeah, people kind of have a direct influence on what is added. I think I'll also probably expand to another marketplace. Can't say exactly when, but probably the Canadian marketplace at some point over there, maybe the next sort of 6 to 12 months.
That's great.
And yeah, we've got a couple quite exciting integrations coming up. I won't say too much about, but just keep your eyes peeled for those.
Yeah, fair enough. So I suppose when you're adding a new store, it's not just as simple as sticking it into a spreadsheet and clicking a button, is it? I suppose you're entirely dependent on the data that store provides in the format that it provides it in, I guess.
Completely, yes. And actually, maybe that's one of the other challenges that I didn't see coming, is just how different every site has their formats, their data. Yeah, adding a new store, it can honestly take anywhere from 30 minutes to 3 days. It really does. It depends how complex their data is. Obviously, I spend a lot of time digging like quite deep into the data to make sure if there is a barcode somewhere hidden, I'm pulling that out to sort of improve the matching and making sure the sort of best image is being used. We're taking sort of the correct price, etc. So it does take quite a lot of time. And if there was an easier way to do it, then the custom scans wouldn't exist, because I would have added every single available store to Arbisource. But yeah, that is a tough thing. And even with everything that's happening in AI, there still doesn't seem to be a way to like fully automate that part. So that's always going to be a big time investment.
Yeah, I suppose it's not in the retailer's interest, is it, really?
No, exactly.
Okay, so how can we get people to you? How do we get involved with Arbisource and all of the social channels that you've got surrounding it?
Yeah, so the sort of main social channel is the Facebook group. So anyone can join the Facebook group. I think we've got about 650 members currently just now.
How many?
Yep. And if you are a member of Arbisource, we also have a private Discord group where you sort of just chat about Amazon, Arbisource, request features, request new stores, etc. And so to actually get started with Arbisource itself, everyone gets a 7-day free trial, no matter what. So I would encourage everyone to give it a go. There's no harm. I've actually created a unique discount codes for anyone in your group or that listens to the podcast.
It's been really good talking to you. I've really, really appreciated your time, your candor, and the honesty. It's a fascinating journey, and I'm looking forward to the next bit.
Thanks a lot for having me. It's been really good speaking to you. And if anyone's got any questions, then feel free to reach out to me.
Good stuff. Thanks, Callum. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, that's the end of the interview. Now, I've said this before, I am a fan. I do use Arbisource most days. I do need to highlight that Callum has given us a promotion and a discount for being part of this show. So if you went onto Arbisource, everybody gets 7 days for free. No matter what, everybody gets a 7-day free trial, which I cannot overemphasize enough. Make the most of that 7-day free trial. But if you decide then to take out a subscription, you will get 30% off with the code HelloRich, all caps, no spaces. Hello, Rich. If you're listening to this in the month of September 2023, that same code, Hello, Rich, will give you 50% off. So 50% off throughout the month of September, 30% off at any other time after your 7-day free trial. That's Hello, Rich, all caps, no spaces. As I listen back to that interview and as I edit it all down, the one thing that underpins all of this for me is the mindset that Callum implements. And if you know me and have met me and talked to me about my Amazon journey at any point, you'll understand that I bang on about the growth mindset. I don't think it can be illustrated better than the way Callum illustrated it. This is the guy that knew in university that side hustles had the potential to be ceilingless in money-making capabilities. How many people do you know that have tried match betting? Now, how many people do you know that made over £25,000 on it? That says everything about that guy. And then when he went to be an Amazon seller, he understood that there was a better path for him. And he understood that the opportunity was there somewhere else. And he didn't have it all planned out. It was manifested. I'm so sure of that. And he followed that path, making it happen. And then when the challenges happened, when he realized that the data matching wasn't what it meant to be, he didn't stop. He took that as an opportunity for growth. And then he's put more features into it. He's regularly gone out to test groups and said, give me your feedback on what you think on that. Because feedback is the breakfast of champions. And he's taken it on board. He's come at it without emotion, objectively, and thought, you know what? That's a good bit of advice. I'll do this, and this. And now he's got a multifunctional tool that can scan things, including custom scans, which enables the more advanced people to go on there and scan using Callum's software and take leads for themselves without opening them up to the wider public. He's also reached out and built his network. He hasn't stopped. He hasn't got his software and gone, right, now I've got it, now I'm happy. He's gone out and reached out and got a network. He's got his own Discord, so he's asking people, what shops do you want? And he's responsive to those. He's reached out to SellerAmp, to Seller Toolkit, to the two guys that are running those, and he's made relationships. And he's got integrations in place. Now, this is a person that will tell you that he isn't very good at public speaking, but look at the network he's built and look at the traction that he's got. And it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as he branches out to the States and he makes more integrations. Tip of the week. It's all about the networking. It's all about the networking. If you're listening to this, the chances are you found me and you're in the Facebook group or you're about to join the Facebook group. Use it. In there, you have got 5-figure sellers, 6-figure sellers, 7-figure sellers. That's no joke. We've got really successful people in that Facebook group now. It's growing and growing. And what's lovely about it is that they are all willing to share their time and their knowledge with you if you only ask the question. Tip of the week. Okay, that'll wrap up the show. I think this is going to be a longer one than usual, so I won't dawdle about. Next week, we are dealing with Kamal and Shay, the two wholesale boys that go by the name of the Amazon guys. These two guys are on track to make £2 million in sales this year alone, and their story is amazing. I'll leave that with you. Take care. Here comes the voiceover lady. Here comes the music. Before we go, just quickly do a subscribe, do a like, do a comment, do the stuff. You know the stuff, blah, 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 blah. In the comments of this podcast is going to be links to Arbisource. It's going to be links to Callum's YouTube and his Discord. Go and give him a visit. See you next week.
Be sure to join us next time for another dose of inspiration and insights into e-commerce and entrepreneurship. And who knows, by then, Des may well have finished that love project. And always remember, it's time to say goodbye, Paul. Hello, Rich. This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as financial advice. We know times are tough right now, and if you are struggling financially, please seek help from an appropriate organisation. We've included a link to the Citizens Advice Bureau in the show notes. Remember, you should always consult with a qualified professional before making any significant financial decisions.